performance. Derek, Kalala.
What is up? Man on the microphone without a microphone. So we're all gonna have to work together on this, and you know the noise is gonna have to be quiet in the back because my voice travels a lot, but it doesn't travel that much. Tell you guys a little bit about myself. Actually, first of all, before I say anything, let's give it up for Cam and Jonah. Now let's give it up for all the people in the back serving all these free beers all night. Now let's give it up for, no, I'm kidding. We're just gonna give it up for people all night. Tell you guys a little bit about myself. Last year I was at MU. I currently work on the Labatt business unit. I'm a coordinator on the Bud Light team. I was recently walking downtown with a friend of mine, and we were walking, and she asked me what we do with all the extra swag that we have at the end of events. And I was like, I don't know, we usually just take it back to the warehouse. She suggested that we give them to homeless people, and I was like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. And then almost on cue, I looked to my right, and there was a homeless lady peeing in the street, and I was like, you know what? That probably wouldn't be the best marketing move, because that's not Bud Light living. I mean, it's Coors Light living. It's not Bud Light living. But I saw her and I wanted to help her out, so I was like, you know what can I do for her? You know, she was obviously hungry, you know, she's gonna be thirsty, she's losing a lot of liquid. So I thought, like, what can I do? So I went across the street to College Park and bought her 2 liters of water and a Molson Canadian shirt. So when she needed to be again, she was representing a better brand. Tell you guys a little bit about myself. I actually grew up in South Africa. I was born in Congo and raised in South Africa. And I moved to Canada in 2003. Back then, there wasn't a lot of social media or a lot of internet. So the only things people saw about Africa was like World Vision commercials. So naturally, the questions I got at the time were very ignorant. People would ask me questions like, hey, did you guys have cars? No, we just imported kangaroos from Australia. You know, were there lions in your backyard? Did you grow up in a house? Someone once asked me if I grew up in a house. I was like, yo, even if I grew up in a hut, that shit was my house, motherfucker. But moving to Canada from South Africa, I quickly realized, you know, there's a difference between being black and like what being black is culturally. Because, I mean, in Africa, everyone's black. And so the first thing I told my friends was, listen, in Africa, we have everything you have here. We have cars, we have houses, we have white people. Like, it's a lot like what you're doing. But one thing I noticed was, like, there's, like, being black, your skin tone, and then there's being black culturally. And I realized that, you know, by the degree of my behavior, I wasn't black culturally. People would like regularly walk up to me and be like, man, you're so white. I'd have to go home and look in the mirror and be like, nah, you're wrong. I know what I look like. Then I realized that we're talking about skin color, we're talking about like culturally, like you're very like white, which makes sense because in South Africa, I skateboarded, I surfed. I mean, I even played hockey. It was field hockey, but it counts. You know, I remember when I first moved here, I didn't know field hockey was only for girls, and I told it to my friend, and he was like, don't tell people that. I was like, all right, I'll take that to the grave with me. But like one thing, like if you talk to me on the phone, you wouldn't know I was black, right? Because with a name like Derek, when you sound like Chandler, people are surprised when you look like you know, like it throws people off when you sound like Chandler, and then they see you and you look like Wesley Snipes. Like, is that the same guy? No, that's not the same guy. It can't be. But moving here was like super fun to move here, and it's a whole new culture. One of the first things I did when I first moved out here was, you know, try to meet new people. And so how I did that was I first lived in Hamilton, and a lot of my friends from the time, what is it, Hamilton representative? Hey! Big things, big things. But like one of the first things I realized was that like, how am I gonna become more black? Because being black was like, I mean, it's all about like swagger, and the other thing was like being intimidating. Now like, I have a bit of swag. I got the cockback, snapbacks. Jay-Z, anyone? You know? But like the biggest thing was like, how do I be more like intimidating? Because you look at the Spice Girls, even the Spice Girl, there was Ginger, Posh, Baby, and then they named the Black Spice Girl Scary. I mean, like the Spice Girls, I didn't really fuck with them because you look at how they named each other, like they discriminated. Because even the Ginger one, she didn't even get a name. They just called her Ginger. Like, we didn't even get a name. You know, like she probably wanted to be called Sassy. She was excited. She was like, I'm a Spice Girl. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna be sassy Spice. She came to the meeting. She's like, hi guys, I want to be. They're like, shut up, Ginger. You and Blackie, I mean, scary Spice. Get out of here while we write some songs. Okay? But that was a long time ago. The world's really changed since I first moved here, and Blackie was scary and Ginger was Ginger. Since then, you know, like one thing I've noticed is who misses back when Kanye West used to be cool. Kanye, man, like remember Jesus walked? You're like, God show me the way, like hi. And like, man, the other day I listened to a Kanye West song and he's like, I just fucked this model and she just bleached her asshole, and I'm like, whoa, what happened to Jesus? Fuck, I guess Jesus was walking away at the time. I don't know, you know? But I do still absolutely love Kanye West. I'm a huge fan. 2 years ago, Kanye said that he was thinking of running for president, and I was like, yes, do it. But my only problem with Kanye running for president is he seems like the kind of person who would interrupt his own inauguration speech. Right? Like Kanye would get up there and he'd be like, first of all, I'd like to thank myself for running. You all know none of this would have been possible without me. Next up, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus. Ha, that's me again. Because we all know I am a God. Next up, I'd like to thank, hold up. Chill, I'm gonna let me finish. Let's turn the camera to Kim real quick, yo. I just gotta say, Kim Kardashian is gonna be the sexiest first lady of all time. And I think Kanye would be right, because if he became president, then Kim's gonna go from Pornhub to the White House. And that is a massive step up. I mean, wow, that's something I can really get behind. But I'm at this age now where a lot of my friends are starting to get married, and I just find that to be such a big commitment. It's a life contract. Like, I have a hard enough time signing a 2-year phone contract. I'm always like, you guys do 6 months? I don't know if you want this phone that long. And then there's a cancellation fee. But imagine if you went to get a phone, they're like, hey, the cancellation fee for this is going to be half your shit. You'd be like, fuck that, I don't need this phone that bad. Like, guys, I'm not trying to compare a girl to a phone, but I do enjoy being able to put my phone on silent. I know, that's the joke that really divides room. You find out who's in a relationship. But naturally, though, like, now